Of every month and every Wednesday around 7:30 or so, just after the news. We have Congresswoman Claudia Tenney joining us here on the Talk of the Town, and she's sticking with us through the break. And she was in the car moving around Washington when we talked to her earlier. We got her thoughts on Brett Kavanaugh and what's been going on there. But, Claudia, I want to ask you a little bit about a release. I believe that came out on Monday, with you and another representative here, Mr. Faso, asking for the parts of I want you to clarify this. Does this include our area? But parts of upstate New York to be issued a disaster declaration, and this is in response to some of the flooding that took place in July and throughout the summer of this year. Does this include our area? I know you mentioned there are 14 counties that this rainfall has affected.
Yes. And another thing that's happened, we've been asking for a disaster declaration, and we haven't gotten everything we wanted. But one of the things that FEMA that we've done on our Financial Services Committee is FEMA has jurisdiction over insurance, and we've been trying to expand and give more options for the National Flood Insurance Program so that people know what they have covered. They have a better idea of, whether they're in a flood zone or not. And one of the biggest problems we've faced in that is that the local governments have no say, and FEMA makes that determination. So we have been trying to put through a bill that gives more discretion to the local governments to. Hold on, I'm sorry about that.
No problem. Hey.
It's a little busy out here. To determine what is a flood zone, where their flood zones are. And it actually helps because so many of their constituents are just stuck by a national decision made by a board of people who aren't living in the local area. And we think that our local governments are in the best position to do that. So that change will hopefully be made. It's under a continuing resolution now, so we haven't been able to change the law as much as we'd like. But another aspect of the flooding as well is even though I'm looking at this new omnibus bill, which is a continuing resolution, meaning we pass the bills in the House side, but we can't get the Senate to agree. So we may get stuck with some of the things that we don't want. We are it looks like a lot of our flooding insurance money and things that we need for our region are going to be included. A lot of the water grants that we've been doing, fire grants, other things that we've been doing to try to help our local communities have safe, potable drinking water. Those issues are going to be included in the omnibus. So as we continue to fight to get things included, they do make it hard on us at times to vote for things that aren't in it that we want.
Mm-hmm. I just want to get your thoughts and your clarification on that because I know different parts of
it does include our local area. Obviously, we have a number of areas that have been awaiting a denial of flood disaster relief, and so we're asking that be reconsidered. And that actually occurred in Congressman Faso's district as well, which is actually a lot of my former assembly district.
Mm-hmm. I thought about you actually over the weekend. I was driving through a portion of that area that you videotaped a couple of summers ago, I think. I was up in Kirkland, I believe. And they're flooding.
The flooding from the village of Kirkland was just devastating. And speaking of which, I don't know if you noticed, but I got a very special moment to be able to welcome the Stanley Cup to Clinton. That was really fun for Hockeyville, USA, and I wish I could have been at the game last night. I heard it was totally amazing.
Yeah, a lot of social media activity this morning, that's for sure.
No, that was great. Yeah, that was great for Clinton. They had a lot of the businesses benefited, and the people were excited about that.
Claudia, I want to just read you something that was in the OD yesterday, an article. It pertains to you, and I'd just like to give you an opportunity to respond to it. And this is a writer who's writing about Paul Ryan's congressional committee, and it says, you've probably seen Ryan's ad ominously linking Anthony Brindisi to Andrew Cuomo and blaming Brindisi on lost money and lost jobs. This, of course, nonsense. The Washington Post rightly pointed out how that particular ad was grossly misleading. Worse yet, there are more ads making the same old already debunked claims. It is clear that Claudia Tenney and her super PAC friends can't find anything positive about her run, so they stooped to making up the most incredulous stuff about Anthony Brindisi. Would you like to respond to that at all?
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Anthony Brindisi could not be more tied to Andrew Cuomo and Sheldon Silver probably more so than anyone in our area. He's part of the Democratic machine in Albany. He was handpicked by Sheldon Silver. He supported Sheldon Silver right up until after Sheldon Silver was arrested. He finally stood up and decided, after every other local official demanded his resignation. And there's an article in the Observer-Dispatch written by Liz Cooper, which states the last public official to stand up to Sheldon Silver after his arrest was Anthony Brindisi. He could not be reached for comment. And that, if you go and do a Google search on that right now in the Observer-Dispatch, you will not find it online because it's been erased because it doesn't fit Anthony Brindisi's narrative. And unfortunately, we had to go to the Utica Public Library and get the microfilm and see the original version of the Observer-Dispatch to do that. And I want to point out that's highly unethical of a newspaper to be so invested in one candidate, and they're supposed to be the fourth estate in providing, objective, at least as objective as possible, at least on their non-editorial pages about a candidate. And I really think the OD's coverage is just patently unfair in this. And they continue to run these letters to the editor from people like this who they go to their meeting on Tuesday nights and they cook up, constant letters to the editor to write all these responses attacking me. And they're very astroturfs. They're not real. They're just the same thing over and over from the same people over and over. And I think people are starting to get that. But, look, Anthony Brindisi has been part of Governor Cuomo, every scheme, whether it's all the hundreds of millions of dollars that have been spent on these so-called economic development schemes. Let's look. The casino deal for the United Nations. We lost $1.8 billion in tax revenue. Most of that was local taxes for a pittance that has come back and gets handed out by the county executive. That's actually our tax money. Should have gone back into the Treasury. So that's just one. Where are the jobs at the Nano Center? What's going on with all this money that's being spent to build a hospital in downtown Utica? Where is all the transparency? What's happening there? These are all things that the governor and Anthony have worked intimately on. And, it's absolutely true. He's doing a huge fundraiser with Governor Cuomo. He's already done one. Cuomo claims he recruited him. And now they're doing another big fundraiser in New York City. The OD criticizes me because the president comes to Utica to do a fundraiser, but at least he's transparent. We're doing it right in Utica and hoping he'll come back for a rally. But he's hiding the governor down in New York City because he knows that the governor's not popular here. He's stepping on our gun rights. Go ahead.
Claudia, before we only have about a minute or so left, but I just wanted to see if you can get a quick response to this in terms of you attack the media coverages, particularly the OD. What do you believe, as quickly as possible, the most unfair and inaccurate attack that you believe the media is putting on you?
It's hard to say with the OD because the OD is literally everything. They almost have a formula. A story gets planted by Brindisi or his operatives. They put the story out. The next day, the OD does an editorial attacking me. I don't know what the worst is. They're all terrible. They all talk about what a villain I am. And I guess, stating that somehow, me attacking Anthony Brindisi's family. Anthony Brindisi every single day is attacking my donors. His mentor, his business partner, and his largest donor are up. We should be looking at him as well. You pointed that out. If my father or my family were my biggest donors or my donors, you have the right to look at them. I think that when you put your donors, your partners, your mentors in the middle of a campaign, they should be looking at everything fairly and not just at me and attacking me. I'm looking at this race comes down to, it's about character and it's about really somebody who has stood up to the people that are the most powerful and the most wealthy in our region, and who has not backed down and who's really defended the people in the face of a lot of suspicious activity on the part of our government officials, whether it's the hospital, the United Nations deal, you name it.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by TheraWorks Relief.
I'm